morning.
Good morning. Good morning to Julian Sidney Nudelberg, who happens to also be on the Daily Huddle this morning.
Look at that human.
Away.
He is determined and ready.
He was not cooperating this morning. He was not feeling the bouncer. He wanted to be a part of the start of the show until Gabby got home. So
it is typical Nudelberg to crave the limelight.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
It is. I spoke the other night, and a couple people walked up to me. They go, "Wow, man, you're really good at this." I go, "I do it all the time." So
I love it.
I love the fact that you continue to post about social media. Your post this morning about doing away with the other column is just
the fact that we even have the other inbox is so absurd to me. Right?
I was talking about doing the wall and hall today, so my apologies for those who tuned into that. We got much better content today. We got the second female in the Huddler Hotseat will join us. But social media shows us stuff from a year ago that you may not remember. Mark, this is a year ago.
I know. I can't believe this was a year ago when we did the Shrimp Tank, which is the podcast up in Boca. We got to do that at the FAU Entrepreneur Center. We got to meet some great people while we were there. That was a good time. That was a good episode.
Yeah, it was super fun to do it with the both of you guys. Really not enough oxygen in the room, but whatever was there, we sucked it out. It was pretty amazing stuff. Before we get started, it is Friday Funny. I like to give something light. And I was having a conversation with somebody, and part of the problem with why there's the other column is everybody comes with an ask.
Right.
And we're teaching people, just don't come with an ask. Just come to the party with no agenda, nothing. People are so uncomfortable about that. And I came across a funny, Shay, show me the ask hole. So the person who constantly asks for your advice yet always does the opposite of what you tell them.
I love it.
A better definition is the person who shows up, and every time they show up, they ask you something. It's like
they just always wanting, always taking. The taker is another term for that.
And it's disguised. People have gotten better at disguising it. It's like that 1-2 punch that kind of get under my skin a little bit, and I'm like, maybe I'll take it. And then some of them are just oblivious.
It's not going to be a Friday because we've been doing Huddler in the Hot Seat on Fridays, but whenever we do, we'll take a Thursday or a Tuesday and we'll do some hall and wall. The ones that I've got some examples of where people got me to accept the invite. I said, hey, okay, great. What do you hear? Awesome. Glad to connect. And then carried on the dialogue. And then as soon as I accepted that connection request and let them in, boom, there came the pitch. So I just think we just accept. We've as a human species, we've just come to accept that that's tolerable behavior. We're going to get junk mail. We're going to get junk email. We're going to get cold calls. Why accept it? Why LinkedIn even create that box? Just don't allow it to happen and force people, and set the expectation. That's not the way that we're going to do it. But
so David Flynn, I'm giving you creative license to reshare that with your audience. The power of social is not that I have something that's mine. I'm giving it to the universe. You share it with your audience, and la-di-da, everything gets great. So lots of good stuff. Just a reminder, next week, I think I'm only doing one huddle, because I am traveling into different time zones.
That is correct. We will have Jesse Dykes on the show on Thursday.
Is that confirmed?
That is confirmed. Jesse will be a young entrepreneurs show on Thursday. Which
I was sweating. And
I gotta say, Jacqueline, I'm super glad that you're here to support Joy. But that's what we had to do to get you to come to the huddle, was bring Joy on. Come on.
Come on. Jay, wake this thing up so we can get to Joy. Wake up, everybody. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Wake up. Come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe this and this. We're
Third time's the charm, Jacqueline.
Man, she's not laying down for it, man. She's coming back. So,
and I love that Jake is teasing the content for Monday, talking about the de-influencers. I'm excited to hear what that may be about. We'll discuss that idea. But I believe that
I will tell you, he is huddled up on his own, writing content, and then he sends it to me. He goes, "What do you think?" And I go, "You wrote this?"
Yeah, I mean, ChatGPT also wrote it, but
he's deep. So as we do with everybody, we create walk-up music. I thought this was very appropriate because if you have the first name Joy, you have to deliver joy. So
walk-up music, and then Huddler in the hot seat music, and then she's here. Let's go.
Yes.
Hello, Joy Lynskey. Welcome.
Hi, Huddler.
Nudelberg Daily Huddle.
Or if you see me in public, Huddle! I yelled that a few times in the last month.
True. It's true. When I was at the event that I saw you at Saturday night, there were people walking by me that I did not know going, Huddle. I'm like, wow, man. It's awesome.
It's a movement, right?
I'm a little less quiet when I do it. But.
Yes. Yes.
So I'll give you the background on how I met Joy. So I met with a friend of ours, a colleague, somebody who's a leader in the network, and we were having coffee at Sith, and she referenced to me like, you know Joy Lynskey, right? And I was like, no. And she was like, well, she's all over LinkedIn too. I can't believe you don't know her. And I'm like, all right, figure it out. So I leave coffee with Haley, I go on about my day, and then wouldn't you know that my dad brings up Joy the next day on the Huddle because of the way that she had come in to his inbox on LinkedIn with, hey, I think I was sitting behind you at, where was it? It was at Doc B's, and it was just like, small world, the people how you're connected, the power of social media, all of that really coming together with how I met Joy. And then I was just really pleased to learn your story and get to know you and have the opportunity to work with your team and work with CEA and do so many things with you over the past year. And I know we're going to continue to do great things, but welcome to the Nudelberg Daily Huddle and give us your story.
All right. So I'm Joy Lynskey. I own and operate Jewel Tone Interiors alongside Jacqueline, the person that they're ragging on, my business partner. I started JTI almost a decade ago because I felt like I wanted to create something different for the interior design industry in terms of culture and really what we delivered to clients too. So tried to get into hospitality, tried other things, and at the end of the day was like not finding where I wanted to fit in. So I created it and then got pregnant, which was not the plan, like right after starting a business. So realized that I needed to hire outside my comfort zone if I needed to see my baby or wanted to see my baby, and I did. So hired two green. So couldn't leave the business in her hands. So then had to hire an old colleague. So really had three people working for JTI inside of 365 days, which is really not like great on the cash flow, great on all the having 3 to 6 months in the bank kind of things, just totally outside my comfort zone and like how I thought it would look like.
Yeah.
So yeah. And it's been a fun ride ever since. I met Jackie and, knew that she'd be great fit for a partner. Obviously couldn't offer a partnership on our first interview. And, over time, just really, really got to know her, dangled that carrot. She joined, she acted like a partner day one. And then I gave her part of the business because she deserved it. And I was happy to run it alongside her.
So let me jump in for a second. So that nugget could be like the best nugget yet.
Acted
like a partner, which is like, I hear all the time people say, well, when I become partner, I want to do this, this, and this, or when I become vice president, what are you waiting for?
When they make me.
Do it, and it becomes. So what a great nugget. Way to go.
Yeah, so my dad was a business owner, and I learned a ton from him, as I'm sure you did have, Mark. And one of the biggest things he always taught me was do more than what you're paid for.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So there's two great nuggets that you've already dropped. I think for everybody to hear act like a partner, I don't care what role you're in inside of an organization. You have to operate like it's yours. You have to operate like you're the boss. And that doesn't mean make the decisions. It means take ownership, right? And I think that's the key point for everybody that I want to make there is acting like a partner doesn't mean acting like you have some kind of entitlement or acting like you have some kind of, you have something owed to you. It's taking responsibility for the business and taking ownership of the growth and success of the business, which is what then, led you to offering her a piece of the business. But I want to go back further. So like you said, you wanted to change culture and change what you offered people. How did you craft the vision of what Jewel Tone would look like? And how did you end up with saying, this is what I want to do and how I want to do it? Where did that vision come from?
Well, two things. So one, my first job out of college, mine and my boss, who I still adore and speak with somewhat frequently, I had gone to him and was complaining about something happening in the business. I think it might have been even my role. Like, hey, you guys can make a lot more money out of me if you just put me here. Like, this will be so much more profitable than what you have me doing. Like, I know I'm like young and may not know what I'm talking about. I was like, I actually don't think I apologize for any of it. I'm 22, but he's like, don't ask me. My name's not on the door. And I was like, okay, never naming my business after myself. And then my last job I worked for 7 years, which was a very toxic environment. And my mentor just always told me, stay as long as you can until the fire gets too hot and you have to jump. Just build that portfolio, close as many doors. Because we did retail design, a ton of retail design all over the nation and Latin America. So I had to travel a lot, and it was really great. Like, I feel like I got a 20-year career in 7 years because of how fast-paced and cutthroat and just the quantity of projects that we completed. And but at the end of the day, the owners didn't listen to the employees or didn't ever garner their contribution at all. And to the point where I came with a very unhappy client because he had too much turnover on his project, and I was the designer, but it was already in like construction. And he's like, what, he just literally lost his mind, like curse, like screaming at me on the phone. First time in my career to be like talked to like that by a client. And actually I think first and only.
Wow. Yeah.
I go to the owners and I'm like, hey, this guy's really upset. And I get it. Like, he's had so much turnover with his team. Because like our projects, we're with the client for a long time. It's a serious relationship. It's intimate. And they're like, yeah, well, he's an asshole. He doesn't really pay on time anyways. And I'm like, yeah, but I just like got like, could you just acknowledge that I was just like, like screamed at and F-bombed out? Like, and it's not my fault. Like, there was no acknowledgement of how that landed for me. And there was no accountability for how he felt and how he was left. Like, we could have totally done so much more work with that guy. If we would have just gone about it a different way.
And so that was the catalyst?
That was the beginning of the end. Yeah. They fired someone who worked under me on a day that I was not there and didn't realize that she was my team. Like, she was on my team. And didn't even tell me about it. That was another chink in the armor. I was like,
who is this dude? Who is this?
Andrew Lynskey.
We'll be sneaking into the huddle, brother.
Andrew, thanks for being here this morning. Super glad to have you here in the huddle. Hopefully you'll come back for more, not just when Joy is here. But
super shady, babe. Give yourself a picture.
the privacy. The privacy settings have to be adjusted.
He's the comedian with a paper bag over his head.
So you came up in this world of design, which I think tends to be female dominated as far as the designers go, but male dominated from what I learned from you about business owners. What were some of your concerns or fears or challenges of saying, I know I'm going to enter into a very male dominated industry as a female owner? And how did you prepare yourself for that?
Honestly, I had no idea. Like I was blindsided by that. And it's like, so really that's probably a good thing, right? Because I didn't create some story around gender.
Right.
I've always just been in the mindset, like, to treat others the way you want to be treated. So like, I don't, and I really, really can't stand the victim mindset that a lot of feminism brings. I'm just going to put that out there.
Sure.
While I'm still here for empowering women, like they're not mutually exclusive. So,
I agree 1,000% with you. And do you want to unpack that a little bit? Do you want to go into some of that?
Yeah. I mean, I just believe that, like, listen, let me tell you, a feminine thing that I did once on a board meeting with a guy that I fully respect. I rolled my eyes because of another guy's actions, because he was like 75 years old and like didn't listen to the thing I said or said something, and it offended me, and I rolled my eyes, and like the whole board saw it.
Right.
Like, not appropriate, right?
Right.
And I hate to say that that's like feminine behavior, but maybe
Sure.
it is. But you know what I did? I'm like, I apologized to him. I'm like, that was unacceptable. I am so sorry for the way I behaved. And I told my board that was inappropriate.
No, what's interesting is that if a guy were to do that, which guys do that, it does not get viewed the same. So that's the difference, is that all of a sudden, oh my God, look at this female rolling her eyes. But guys do that kind of behavior and they just get away with it, you know? So I think, you know, I think being human, you know, and saying, hey, listen, you know, this guy's not listening to me. I want to bring that attention to that to everybody should be commonplace. It's not. So
right. And Jay makes a great point. Like, honesty is always appropriate, should always be appropriate.
Exactly my point, Jay.
But I think, and the thing you said about it not being the victim because of being a female, but also standing up for female equality and being able to do both, pointing towards men as the problem or using it as the reason that you haven't gotten to where you've gotten to would be the victim mentality of feminism, as opposed to saying, yes, there's a reality and a bias and a culture that we have to deal with, but that doesn't stop me from getting to where I need to get to, which you don't hear all the time in the narrative. So it's super powerful that you said that, and it resonated with a lot of people in the comments.
Good. I'm glad. I mean, and at the end of the day, I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for a ton of men that paved the way or moved out aside. Like my presidency in CEA right now, I asked the guy that had invited me to the group, who was a client, became friend. I'm friends with him and his wife. I've done many projects with them. I asked him, like, hey, do you think I should be on the board? I think I want to be on it. I think I have, you know, value to bring. And he, like, I didn't realize I was giving him out. He removed himself and said, I want Joy to take my place, which in hindsight, I'm like, shrewd move. Like, I like it. But I'm like, I'll remember that one. But he is so highly respected by everybody in the organization that him putting me forward wasn't just like a suggestion. Right. You know, like it was like I had such buy-in and I had such respect coming on that, like, he really did pave the way.
Right.
So, and I don't hold that lightly.
So I do want to talk about a pillar of something, because I think it's when I talk about developing mindsets with people, I talk about the environment that they live in, whether or not it's organized, whether or not it speaks to them. You create environments that create experiences. You create environments that create feelings and that create a brand Talk to us about what that really means. What defines a good environment? What defines something that's successful for you? How do you bring people's vision to light and make an environment an experience?
I mean, the first thing that we ask is, how do you want your people to feel? And so it really comes to emotions and what emotions you want to evoke. So once we get the answer to that, then we ask them, what does that look like? Because warmth to you may look different for warmth for someone else. So like, there's just like inquiry upon inquiry where you just have to dig and dwell in the answers. And then actually as a team, this is what I heard. What did you hear? Because everybody hears it differently. And that's why we're so collaborative here, is because, multiple brains coming at a problem is going to be so much more successful than just one. So, and then a lot of times we'll have, like the pinch hitter, to use a sports term with you guys, it will have them come in at the end who's never even seen the work and have their critique on it, which is really valuable. That blind eye.
That's really interesting because, you see Ginger say, yes, she's a writer, right? But what you're talking about of asking people what they want people to feel, and then asking them what that looks like, there's no difference in really any industry, whether you're working together in a coaching relationship and you're asking somebody, what does success mean to you? Or what does success feel like to you? What does success look like for you? And then how do you see us getting there? Or for Ginger to say, hey, what do you want people to feel? What do you want people to hear from you? What does that look like? Asking those questions and get people to, basically illustrate what they see for you to help them bring it to life is incredible.
So it's, to your point, Mark, it happens in every art form.
Right.
When I get hired to speak, the first thing I ask is, when it's over, what do you want your people to be saying and thinking and feeling? Right. 'Cause I can reverse engineer it same way Joy can reverse engineer it. Most people don't know how to get there. That's why Joy does what she does, is I can help you get anywhere, the destination, but I got to know where you want to go. It's like Waze, man. You got to put in the destination first. Otherwise, and this happened early in my marketing career, I thought I was building something that somebody wanted. We would build it, present it to them, and they would go, well, that's not what we were looking for. And I was like, what do you mean? That's what you said. And they go, well, that's not what I meant. And, so it's really, really, really important in a business that's very arbitrary. What you think is pretty, I don't, and vice versa. And speaking, writing, developing, visions, you got to be able to listen. So really, really
so
great.
How do you keep things progressing? Because if you've got a room full of people that are hearing a client talk about what they want people to feel and what that looks like to them, and you've got 4 people that all heard it differently, how do you come together to move that project forward? How do you build collaboration? You're the owner, you're one of the owners. You obviously have sway in what happens in the say. So how do you move it forward by keeping everybody involved and ensure that you're trying to create the best vision?
Well, there's buy-ins, right? So we have phases. We have 5 phases. So at the end of every phase, we have a check-in with the client. Like, are we on or off, like in alignment? And a lot of times I like to write, and I like to tell the vision that you can't really see from just a floor plan and some mood images. So a lot of times I'll write a concept narrative that really gets into the feeling of the space. And the best part about that is that when I'm not pitching it, or my team's not pitching it and like doing the dog and pony, when we've walked away, they can still read that concept narrative.
It sits with them and they're able to consume it again, and they're able to really allow it to resonate with them. And I would imagine that then helps you be more successful in the carry on of that project.
Yeah. And if it doesn't resonate with them, we hear no a lot. Right. And that's fine. That gives us the opportunity to make it right.
I love that.
Before this interview is done, I want to recognize the fact that she is wearing blue, and blue stands for Go Gators, man.
Yes.
So then we can end the conversation with this question. Is it really great to be a Florida Gator.
It really is.
Why? Why?
Give me a high five, Steve. I mean, it was the best time of my life. I'm sorry, hon. I know you're on the huddle, but like, my was the best time of my life. So.
That's awesome.
You know, you can say that. And Mark, I think you would say the same thing about, Tallahassee. You loved your time there, but there's nothing like being a Florida Gator. Nothing.
It is the best being in Tallahassee. Don't gamble is the best.
Already, man.
So great stuff. Joy, thank you so much. One last question. If there was one thing that every huddler should know about you, what is it?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I have no idea.
Look at all.
I'm like an open book. So
all the Gators, Nancy showing up.
You're an open book. There it is. That's the one thing that everybody should know about you, is that you are an open book. And if you want to know, just ask. Joy, thank you so much for joining the Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you for being a great friend, a great client, a great teammate. Awesome stuff.
Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
You got it. Let's have a great weekend. Let's have a great day. Let's get down to business. We'll see you on Monday.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business.